Hi folks, before we get started on our next tutorial, I wanted to go over a couple of things with you that I saw were helpful, and a glitch that I saw in the one where we sewed on some charms. Real quick, if you're working from a bolt, you may find this useful. Now, we've done how to cut tulle from a bolt on a couple different tutorials. One thing I did notice, and this is actually really recently, and it's amazing, after you cut the length that you want, you know how everybody tells you to roll it up? I've told you, roll them up, bring it together, folded edges as close as possible, and then you can trim off that excess, right? Right here. This is where it's folded over and it's excess. Well, since we make a lot of dresses, we're working with really long tulle and we're rolling for quite a while. Well, here's something I found to make it a little bit easier. You can literally fold it, bringing the sides together as close as possible. And I also showed you how you can go ahead and separate your pieces when they don't match up, where you can just cut along the folded side and get the most out of your tulle without wasting excess. And you can check out our how to cut tulle from a bolt tutorial for more in-depth details. So, all you need to do, if you don't have time to fold, to roll it, is you can literally just bring it together, like so, and you can cut your strips. This may be helpful to you if you don't have something to measure, but you're really good at guesstimating the width that you want. You can take a piece of paper and say, this is where I want it, and it may be a better visual for you. Again, all you got to do is just like that. And the key is just bringing that folded side together and the raw edge together as well. But it does not mess up the length you're going for. And I'll go ahead and show you real quick. See if you can see that, sorry. See how it's close together? And remember, the folded side, you're going to do it half the width that you normally would for the rest. Now this is kind of crooked because this side is actually folded twice. Look at that. Look how wide that is. Okay, but I didn't mess with my length, and now I can bring it together. If I want to do the pixie cut, I can, and it just works out really good with the rotary cutter as well. If you have, say, a little bit duller scissors, this will work good to cut more smoothly. Just make sure that you bring those sides together as close as possible, so that way you don't waste too much of your tulle with excess where it doesn't match up. And see how nice and smooth that is? It's hard to tell, I know. Okay, so the next thing, I just dropped my needle, of course. Sorry. Alright, put your thread on your needle like you normally do. I went ahead and tied a knot just to keep the thread on there to make it easier, since I'm doing this without a guide. Without it being on the table or on the tutu itself. Put your charm. Now, start from back to front, going through the hole. Leave plenty of the tail on the other side so you can make your knot. Now, don't go through the hole again when you're at the front. Go ahead and go right above it at the tulle, through the tulle holes. Okay? Bring that through. Now, when you're working and this is on a tutu, it's going to be a lot easier for you. So now you just have it on your tulle. And like I said, it'll be a lot easier for you when it's on the tutu. Now, make a knot with that tail piece Okay, like so. Depending on how heavy your charm is, that's how many times you want to make a knot. The heavier it is, the more knots you want to make, just to make sure it stays on there securely. Okay, so now we've got it on there, and as you see, I tied a little knot on my thread and my needle so that way I don't lose the thread as easily. And now you'll go through the back, through the hole, the charm hole, and again through the tulle over top, and do this a few times. Again, make your decision based on how heavy the charm is. And if you're working with that floss, that's a little bit thicker thread, so that will hold it more securely than regular thread as well. Okay, now after you feel it's secure and you've got everything on the back end, go ahead and tie a knot again, just like you did at the beginning. And I promise you this is a lot easier when it's on something and you're not trying to do it like this. Okay, so you've got your knots. Now just trim it up. And of course, if you match your tulle and your thread color, you'll have a really hard time discerning how the charms are on there. But there it is. It's nice and secure, and I left a little room for it to move around, but it's secure. I hope that these tips and tricks help you as you do your creations. And if you have any questions, as always, leave it in the comment section or find our contact information on our Google Plus page, and we'll be happy to help you as much as we can. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please feel free to visit our sites. You are very appreciated. Have a fabulous day. Happy creating!